Well, this is quite a. I feel like Vincent Price is going to come out of the back or something.
Hello, David. Welcome to Belgium.
Hello.
Is this your first time in Belgium?
First time, and I will say, very impressed. Very impressed. And I just want to take a moment to thank you and your lovely staff for putting together such a great experience for all of you. This is phenomenal. I really say from my heart, thank you for getting me here. And I'm very particular when it comes to these types of events, and you do it first class.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. So you've been here a few days now. Is there anything that strikes you as being specific or peculiar about Belgium or Belgians?
Steps. Lots and lots of steps. Cobblestone streets and sore feet and sore legs. I will say the charm of the city is it just drips with love and warmth, and these just corners that I for the past 2 nights I've just been walking by myself through the areas and have explored the St. Michael's Church, which was an amazing just architectural church, older church. I like old churches, so I just feel like you have the castle, the church, post office. It's a very charming town, and you all should be very humbled to be an energy source like this. I feel like it definitely has some portals around here. I may have to. I think I've actually went through a couple of them. Even though it was Halloween and I woke up November 1st, you do go through a portal, which is true, I believe. So I was happy to be able to go into a new portal here with all of you. But maybe some of you didn't make it through, I don't know. Or you're afraid to go through the portal. Just come to the portal.
Yeah, it's funny thing is all the other people who were here said chocolate was typically Belgian. So
well, yeah, the chocolate, of course. I mean, it's very fancy. It is. You don't know really which chocolatier to go into. There are so many of them. So I think I just went into every one of them, and that was not the one thing that hit me though. It was just the energy of and the churches, the cathedrals, and the people. You could just tell there's such joy in the air, and people having a good time. And I will say the beer. I mean, look, if you can't say the beer, then, I had a traditional pork dish last night, which was just amazing. It was family recipe, so I wanted to try it. And this goblet of beer with a cross on the outside of it, and it was insanely good, I will say. And it made my steps much better as I left the restaurant and tried to find 2 places that the gentleman who was working there told me to go to. Wrote them down and all. Didn't find one of them. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's sense of direction with all of you. You don't really seem to know what the spot may be, or you'll go to this one, it's better. And then I was supposed to find a place where I was supposed to take my shoe off, okay, and fill beer in it or something, and drink out of the boot.
When you order specific beer in that cafe, it comes into a very expensive glass, and they're afraid people will run away with the glass, so you have to give your shoe, so they're sure you will...
I'm not going in there.
Okay.
No, I got Gucci's, and I'll probably end up running away.
Yeah, they got about 350 different kinds of beer there, so...
It's amazing. No, but you sip the beer, and then you feel like, okay, now you're in it. I've always felt when you go to a specific city, wherever you may go, you have to really immerse yourself into the traditions of what the energy is all about, and I did so. And when I had the dish, the pork dish, which was just great, I could feel that energy, what you all put out, and the beer obviously just heightened all of it. And there was like an outdoor hot tub in the restaurant. I didn't know what the hell that was going to be used for. I know it didn't cook the pork.
You think it didn't cook the pork?
Yeah, maybe they did, I don't know. But I asked the guy, I said, well, that's for late night, so I didn't make it that late.
Maybe tonight. There's a drinking game that says, name 3 famous Belgians. Can you name 3 famous Belgians?
Audrey Hepburn.
Great, yes.
Right? Yeah. Louis, is it Coquette, who is the architect?
Yes.
He designed the bridges. Since I'm staying in the area, I did some research up top there. Dolph Lundgren? No.
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 The other one.
The other guy who can do like splits.
Felicia did a split if you want to imitate
No, that's
her.
not gonna happen. If I actually tried to attempt to do a split, you would hear a lot of screaming and hollering. I'm like, get me the fuck off this stage. Sorry. Maybe I shouldn't swear.
You can swear.
can?
Yes, you can say everything you want.
Okay.
Almost.
Way that, or read some kind of poetry out of this book, which is.
You're thinking of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes, Van Damme. Yes. So there we go.
All right, you're the second one who actually was able to name 3 famous Belgians. So tomorrow I'll ask you for 7 famous Belgians.
7?
You can prepare.
Really putting me on the spot right now. That's.
You're from the United States, right?
Yeah.
If I would ask you, in your opinion, who are the 3 most famous, dead or alive, Americans, who would you choose?
Oh, the 3 most famous Americans. I'd say Abraham Lincoln would be one of them, which I think of just a revered, stoic sense of stature. Gregory Peck, from an entertainment perspective, of a man who played just large roles and lived them. Broad mountain shoulders that he was, and he had such a way about him that was extremely, just pretty amazing. And the third, Spuds MacKenzie, dog.
All right.
I don't know.
Now, obviously you're an actor.
Yeah.
Famous one. What's one perk of being an actor?
You get, when you work on sets and you're fortunate to get a job and be humbled to work with great cast people, I tend to say like the clothes are part of the function. I've always thought like, hey, well, that's kind of like a separate thing because it's like contractual. For me, it was like McQueen always said, if I'm going to do a film, you rent me my body. It's my contract. The clothes, I take those clothes with me. So I've gotten a lot of suits from Bones, tons of suits, and crazy enough, lots of underwear. And I mean that because it's just like underwear and socks are always available for you when you start the day. So I don't think I've bought a pair of underwear for a long time, for a long, long time. But perks are, well, you get into a restaurant a little bit faster, I guess. I mean, for what that's worth, I don't really know. I tend to almost kind of stay away from that type of energy. Fame to me is a very wicked word, and it's a slippery slope with that one. For me as an artist, I feel as though I'm just starting to learn that craft of what it is, because you have such hopes and aspirations as an artist, and you think you know what you're doing when you really don't. And I was fortunate to get a really strong break in my career, and I was very fortunate for that. But I feel now I'm understanding what silence means. I'm understanding what strong subtext means. I'm understanding the vehicle and the emotions behind all that. And that's something I'm very excited to explore more. So I feel like though I'm just starting that energy from where I am as an artist and as a person. But perks and fame is shortly lived, and I've seen that just mess people up with their focus, choices that they may make. It's not an easy, it's a part of business and it's a game to it. When it comes to that other stuff, premieres and walking down carpets, not one that I really like to do. I've always felt, I like going to places like in Belgium. One of the best things about being here, I've been able to disappear in my own energy. And when I say that, I mean all of you are just so kind and gracious, and the conversations I've had on the streets with people as yourself have been so kind and so giving. There's no people coming up to you and being obnoxious or energy that shifts you in a way that you feel negativity. So I thank you for this energy here and out there and out through those doors. So those types of perks, I don't really look into them.
You've been acting for how many years approximately?
Well, graduated from Ithaca College when I was 21 and decided to move out to California, and I thought I was like the best director that would ever can walk the planet, and learned very quickly that I had to find a job doing something. And it's just odd jobs all over the place. And then acting I kind of fell into, where I would go on auditions with my friend, and then he was auditioning and I ended up getting the role, whether that's like in commercials or whatever. I was just in the right place at the right time. And I think back, you know, when I was in 6th grade, I knew I wanted to kind of be on stage and play characters and whatnot. And I kind of suffocated that in high school because it wasn't cool, you know, to go the acting route. You know, you're a jock, you play football, why would you study acting? So kind of put that away for 4 years, and then I found it again in college. And I was more of an experienced kind of a guy. I was always curious to live life to an extreme that was a little dangerous, but fulfilling and fun and responsible. And when I say responsible, that's a 21-year-old saying responsible, and we all can laugh at that because that's crazy, right? Then I moved out to California and just I was very raw, had no technique behind me. Had to study technique for a while, for 2.5 years with a gentleman by the name of Stephen Book, who really changed my life technically with the craft. Viola Spolin, you know, theater, games, and whatnot, learning the craft from the purest form of that. And it took a while, and I just kind of broke into it 26, and I got a lucky break. And as the story goes, was walking my dog and was looking for, he's just taking him out to go to the bathroom. My manager found me, he's still my manager. It was kind of like a Schwab drugstore kind of a story, and walked into a casting office, Marcia Schulman, who was casting a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I fit the bill and talked to her about Italian restaurants in New York for almost an hour before I read the copy. 2 or 3 hours later, I was in a room reading for producers and barely got through the audition. Was really nervous. There was always a struggle for me to understand my nerves. I'm answering this question in a very long answer for you.
Yeah, because that was
You're just like, how long
actually.
when have you started acting?
Yeah.
So 26, 27, but they ended up getting this part, and like 2 days later, I'm in a long velvet coat, a white shirt, and my call time was, I think, 4 p.m. I didn't work until 5 in the morning. I did one setup, and is when she flips on the high beams and she kicks me over and she says, "Who's you?" And then I'm like looking up at her, and I was just dying to get through the lines, and I did, and that was my weekend, and they were pleased, and the rest is just kind of history. So started out like about early 26 when I moved up to California, and I feel as though just now, really inception of Bones and SEAL Team, really more SEAL Team, where I've kind of, it takes like 32 years to become an actor, I think.
And what would be the biggest change in the acting world you've seen in those 3 decades? I've always maintained that it's all about the energy for me, and really about where I am in my life. I've tapped very much into, I'm a Taurus, so my feet have to be on the ground, and I have to feel Earth and Mother Earth. I don't want to get too esoteric with all of you because it can get confusing, because I am I can talk spirituality, religion all day long, and I have no problem with that. So it's really where my energy is and the experiences that I've had, and working with my acting coach, who I've known for almost 24 years, Ivana Chubik, and I learned her technique, and it was, for me, finding the pot of gold that made sense, or finding the fabric that made sense, where I fit in a quilt, or how I fit in the flag, or how I fit in a room with people. Learning how to use your experiences to understand how to apply that in your subtext. And to me, that's what my life is really about. So that is the learning experience. That's why it's so much joy for me to travel and walk around places. All right, now, David, if that's okay with you, we're going to take some questions from the audience. So there's 2 microphones, one on the left, one on the right. You can just queue up. There's a few basic rules. English only, 1 question per person. Please articulate in the microphone. Don't ask for free hugs, autographs, kisses, or...
Maybe I want hugs and kisses. What are you talking about, man? I'm
joking. Respect the rules.
Don't ask for David's hotel room number. I got that. So I would say, person on the left, take it away.
Hello, I'm Anne. You were my inspiration from a young age. You inspired me to read a lot because my parents were not happy I wasn't reading much. But my question is, where did you get your inspiration when you were Angel? And which one would you want to reenact?
Thank you for that question, and you inspire me for being inspired. So thank you for your energy and your love right now. That's very moving, and I mean that. Inspiration for the character was broken down like this. He's a prize fighter like Joe Louis, who can get knocked down but will always get up. And that to me is the essence of the character in a lot of ways. It's a character that you think he's down and out and he always comes back. And whether that's through the physical form, the spiritual form when we're dealing with a cult show like this. As far as revisiting a character, I usually am the type of person and type of energy that doesn't like to do that, depending upon where I am presently, right now. Like what makes sense to me? What's my energy about? What's my curiosity? And I'm so forward focused right now since I just finished the series that my insight into my subject matters or what I'm living right now is going to be pretty interesting next year. So I hope I answered that question correctly.
Thank you. Person to the right.
Thank you so much for coming to Belgium. Me and my friends were doubting to come to FACTS, but then your name came up and we were like, oh my god, this is Boot, this is Angel, we have to
Thank
come.
this guy right here, right?
Yes. I wondered if there were any stories left you wanted for Boot and Brennan, or for Boot and the friends you made, because they were all these scientists, and you, as the character, made them more human.
Yeah.
You brought them into the world, and they loved you for that. And
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for the cat ears there too. Appreciate it. I think the character of Booth would be, of all of them, the easiest to slip into right now, and the most kind of rewarding because you'd like to see these two characters in today's environment, which I think would be hilarious to see how he would react to certain things in the world today, how she would react to certain things in the world today. For us, I think it would just be like putting on a comfortable sweater, knowing that that's always there, or that shirt that you can wear that you know that's so comfortable but yet interesting to play. So
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Dirk. I am the Vice President of the Association of European Journalists and a PR consultant. And I'm very interested in what you said about acting techniques, because I'm one of the only acting coaches in Belgium who teaches camera acting. And we know that your books, obviously, and the 12 steps they have. So I always tell my students, try to get as many, or try to learn as many acting techniques as possible and find what works for you and assimilate what works and forget about what doesn't. So you had two acting coaches who brought you like a long way. Do you have the same sentiment? Did you also get other techniques or learn other techniques, or are you just picking from the techniques that you got from Ivana and others?
Starting out, the curiosity from my perspective was always, there's the Meisner technique. There's a technique where you want to immerse yourself so fully into a role that, Strasbourg is. Those techniques, you're curious about them and you learn about them, and your actions and reactions, physicality, how to bring out an emotion. I always went down those paths and tried to understand them, but they really didn't fit for me because I felt like I was pushing things a little bit too hard. I was just gripping the stick too hard. It didn't make sense. It was forced. Emotions could possibly be raw, which I thought were raw, may have been vulnerably, but then it turns into anger, and anger is not an emotion. You can't play anger. So for me, it's all conflict-driven experiences that I tap into, which is why the Chubbuck technique is so valid for me, because it feels right. But that's not to say when I'm in riding the moment and you forget everything and you're in a moment that you have that sense of vulnerability, whatever that may be, you may slip into those areas that you did study that you may have not been ready to use. It's all about maturity and growing, going and doing theater and being exposed on stage. Failure is the best tool that you can have as an artist, because it really humbles you and makes you feel very small. If you go on a safari in Africa, we think we're so large, right? And we come back knowing that you've seen the big four game, and there's one little small mosquito that can take you out, right? And with malaria, that can just wipe you out. You feel very small around that, but that one little small bite could really cause much problems. It's really a sense of maturity and repetition and really working the vehicle. And I think emotionally, when you're in a moment, you don't think about those things because you've done it already. You've prepared, and I'm not the type of guy who can wing it. I think you have to be pretty good to fake that. When you're opposite very experienced actors that I look up to and would revere to learn from them. For me, it's about learning the experience, and you get into a game of, you understand it, and you kind of mentally start to play games with people across from you as the other actor. But I find myself at times using some things from the past that may spark something or may use. There's so many things that go into it, proper form, the physicality of it, what you wear, how you're feeling that day, and how you're going to incorporate that into the character. I go back to, you just don't fight it. Really be open for it. You see great actors like Daniel Day-Lewis, who is phenomenal, right? But you can see the engine. You can see him grinding the words and the emotion he's going for, and you're there, and you're like, it's so painful to watch, man. Then Meryl Streep walks in and she just lets it all go, right? It's just drops it, and it's like it's like magic, because she's prepared and she's done all the work, and she doesn't know what's going to happen, which is really exciting to be part of that energy. So to answer your question, it depends on the moment and where I'm feeling. Thank you.
Hi. Well, thank you for coming.
Don't worry, something well.
I've waited a long time to meet you.
Thank you.
I have a double side question, actually.
Okay.
So, along the years, you've played a lot of roles. Which character was your favorite? And plus, who was your favorite person to work with?
Very good question. Thank you. Hard to say, what is my favorite of all of what I've been blessed and humbled to be part of. Some I'm sure you've seen, some I'm sure you haven't seen. I did a small play called Cowboy Mouth, just started out. It was a Sam Shepard play. It was a long one act. It's written by Sam Shepard and Patti Smith. And they were experimenting with acid at the time, and they wrote this amazing story. And I was really blessed to work with a Russian director by the name of Hamlet Sarkissian, who's now still in my life, and we're planning on doing something. That was a phenomenal moment for me, because it allowed me to really kind of tap into that energy and freedom of an artist and be open to express that. Now, none of you have seen that, but that's a truthful, honest answer from as far as where I felt, and that was a long time ago. That was when I was 24 years old, and just doing theater for maybe one person in the audience or 90, didn't matter. Obviously, for the shows that you may have seen, Jason Hayes was a very demanding, hard role for me, but very rewarding, because I was able to tap and help people find that place to go find help, and it was a big reward for me. Buffy and Angel was a cult show that exploded, and I always tried to maintain away from the pop culture of that area, but there was obviously a duality between Angelus and Angel, which was always fun to play, and bit bipolar kind of experience for me. And, I talked about Angel and Angelus, and like what was my inspiration for Angelus, and Gary Oldman in the Professional was that type of inspiration for me to kind of tap into that energy that he had. Bones was really just phenomenally placed as far as comedic timing and being funny and kind of stretching those muscles and whatnot. So as far as picking one, I always pick what's closest to me now, and that would be Jason Hayes. And then when it's done, I finish the series. It's the next one I'm looking forward to is something I'm excited about, and I just take it from there.
Thank you.
Hi David, thanks to be here in Belgium, and we hope to see you in France soon. Nice, the French people. I just want to know if you were involved in the script of the Pylian arc in Angel. Pylian? Do you see what I mean?
I think I do, but
I don't know the name in English.
I don't know. It's a specific storyline that happened. I would not be able to answer that because I don't remember.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure you all do, but see, that's the thing. It's like a fleeting moment. As far as arcs were concerned, storylines early on in my career with that, I didn't really have much say in that. No.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Bye.
David, the person to the right has been jumping by joy all day
So
because
cute.
he met you. So
Great.
he's looking forward to asking that question. Go away.
Hi, jumping again. First of all, I want to say thank you for being here. You're my childhood hero, you still are, even if I'm an adult. So this is crazy insane, sorry. And my question is, what can we expect now that you're finished with SEAL Team? That's my question.
Yeah, you just finished a series that almost kind of crippled you, right? I mean, physically and mentally, to play a character of that magnitude was very rewarding, but very strenuous on the body. Well, what are you going to do next? I was, well, what I'm doing right now is just kind of, that would be at the moment. What am I going to do now? I'm sitting here having a conversation with you. I hold things very close to the vest when it comes to that type of stuff. I can go over a litany of all these things that I have that I'm humbled and fortunate to be able to do soon. But that defeats the purpose because I'm not there yet, right?
But you're here, so.
But I'm here, and I'd rather talk about beer and cobblestone streets and your energy and thanking you for being here.
Don't make me cry, please.
No, it's good. Tears of joy are good.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I appreciate
can
that.
speak for everyone that you're here.
I thank you. I thank you. It means so much to me.
Thank you for us too. Thank you.
Reminds me a little bit of, the end of the Truman Show,
Yeah.
where like the whole film is everybody's watching his life, and then all of a sudden he says, good morning, good afternoon, goodbye, and he goes, and then the final shot is like, what are we going to watch next? So it's like...
So interesting life is like that way. Everybody wants to know what's next. It's, if you could say you just remember, I don't know, in sports, I use a lot of sports metaphor, who won the Super Bowl last year or 4 years ago, nobody remembers. There's moments in films and stories and theaters that you have as an artist that that are very remarkably touching and has made you groan, right? Or has made you fall down to understand that moment. So I revere in those moments, but I'm just happy to be here.
We're happy you're here too. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Anke. I basically grew up with your work. As a kid, I watched Buffy with my cousin. As a teen, I watched Bones, and now as a 20-something, I watched SEAL Team, which has just concluded. And that's actually my question. We see at the end of SEAL Team that Jason stays a warfighter and stays with Bravo Team, and I was wondering what you would consider a happy ending for Jason Hayes.
Well, he's twofold. Happy that he was, to be able to kind of confront a lot of his traumas. Yeah, for me, for that character, it was very difficult. Those subject matters were really intense and somewhat difficult to go down at times. And it was, being on the battlefield with his brothers. But what I love about the end of the series is it's really open-ended. I guess you could almost very similar to Angel's open-ended. It's like we're gonna just keep fighting, right? And you don't know what's really gonna happen. Jason Hayes gets off that helicopter and says there's no easy fucking day, and he's happy and peaceful. We don't know if he's gonna get hit, right? 10 minutes from there. So we don't know if he survives, which I think is really great storytelling.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Hi. You once had that part in Family Guy where you was playing the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, my big head.
And I was just wondering, how did that happen? Did they just call you to tell you, hey, we have a joke?
Yeah, I was doing Bones at the time, and they wanted to know if I wanted to be on the show, and I was shooting the Bones at the time at Fox, and I went over my lunch break. They put me in this green turtleneck, and I just did the lines, and that was it. And they take those lines and they create the animation like 6 months later. So it just so happened. It's very funny. People really like that for some reason. I think it's great. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi. My name is Tiffany. I may stutter a bit because I'm really, really excited.
Okay.
And I also wanted to thank you because Buffy and Angel kind of pulled me through my childhood, so thank you. And hearing you talk about being nervous going to castings, seeing how Buffy exploded, how are you feeling when you were getting your own show, trying to go into that?
Right.
It must be some responsibility.
Navigation of that kind of happened on the fly for me. I was more concerned. I've told this story before about where I was shooting at the time. I had a long wig on and I was doing a silly Irish accent, and just more concerned about getting that somehow right and where I was in my career and playing this character. I didn't think too much about that. I really didn't. You know, there's one thing that I do love is the fear of something. I learned early on, like, if it scares you, then you're on a good path. Like you're in a right place. If I went into it, I was like, I would be silly because, I'm not afraid of this or like whatever. I loved it. I loved the fear of it. I loved the sense of, okay, how do we accomplish this? How do we get this done? And if you stay present in the moment, you just let that unfold. Don't trip yourself out so much on how to do everything, because you just can't do that, right? In life, even in life, you can't do that. You got to stay in your 3-foot world. When you start controlling things outside of that, you're going to get really spun out of control, and you'll be chasing your tail a lot.
Yeah, I actually went down about 6 months ago, so I really understand what you mean.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's tough, right? Yeah, but you know, when you hit that spot, it's a big awakening for you, and you cherish that, whether it's coming out of it or 2 years from now, and you look back at that moment, you say, "Thank you," right? Thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for being here.
It's like Brennan dressed in a lab coat.
Yeah, I have a question about Bones, because in Bones a lot of people die, also a lot of fan favorite characters die, and I was wondering if you could save any one of those characters, who would still be alive at the end of the series?
Sweets, for sure. John Brennan. He's a great guy. I just recently saw him, and I gotta tell you, the two of us in a room together, the humor is just nonstop. It's a communication. When you see someone, you just start laughing uncontrollably. You just know it there. So definitely Sweets.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, David. My name is Jasmine. I've been a fan of you since I was 12 years old. I've seen you in older roles, but of course my favorite is Angel. And I was wondering if there's like one memorable scene of you playing Angel that you still think of, or that was special for you.
Yeah, good question. I think every scene that was potentially out there was such a strong, hard show to do, because it was night, obviously. You couldn't shoot during the day or I'd blow up. So, you know, I was really proud of the stunts we did on that show. George Lucas came to our set because his daughter was a fan of the show, and he was there. He spent the whole day with us, and he was marveled at what we did in front of green screens and wires at the time, and how we did these street sequences, and how you can get all that work done in 8 days. Was just, he was like, wow, it's like you guys are shooting mini movies, and we pretty much were at that time. You know, we didn't have all those special effects at the time. You didn't have to lock cameras off. You had to draw a line in the monitor, and I'd have to come back and match that with my face in order to morph into a vampire. There was so many technical things that you had to worry about and think about while you were playing an emotional scene. So I was able to pull a tear out of transformation, which I was like, that was crazy how I did that, probably because it was so painful. That it was fun moments, you know, like that. And Julie Benz, working with Julie was always fun. Always had a good time with her, and Sarah was great. Charisma's great. I mean, there's just so many great little moments. I think if I really sat down and thought about them, I would come up with that answer. But man, when I'm finished something, I just kind of let it be, you know. I let it sit there. And great people like you ask me these questions. I can go on and on, but nothing really. That's it. Driving the car into Paramount's lot was pretty cool.
Okay.
That was a fun night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'd like to welcome you to Belgium again.
Thank you.
So my question is, you've played a lot of various characters, and I was wondering which one you think is most like yourself, like personality and stuff.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think that you have to look at them now more and say, okay, what parts of those can you tap into to get to an emotional response or a physical movement? And certain aspects of them are, you know, swift in the physicality of it, the unpredictability of it, the potential rage that you can get out of something from, you know, playing a crazy psychotic vampire, right, who wants to kill somebody, or like to a sweet charming guy like Booth. You know, it's how you dress, how you move, like little things like that. You kind of can feel bits and parts of you, but you ultimately are playing a character that you kind of set forth and establish, right, with wardrobe, scene, environment. So there's little bits and pieces that you take into account when you are playing those roles, for sure. Yeah.
David, we're running a little bit out of time, so we're going to get 2 final questions if that's okay with you. So go ahead.
Go.
Well, my question was actually, why did Sweets have to die?
John went on to do some great things. He's doing awesome things, directing and writing scripts. And I think, you know, when you ask people, you know, why people die or leave shows, it's because they have other responsibilities or things that they would like to do. And it's great to see that, right? You champion them to do that, you know. That's just the way it is, you know. You kind of, you know, sometimes you choose particular characters, I think, in storytelling, where the audience doesn't like the fact that you have to kill somebody off, but where somebody doesn't like it, there's 4 other people that love it because it's character driven, and you bring somebody else new in, right? The guy who replaced Sweets was fantastic. He's awesome, man. And he had a lot of pressure on his shoulders, right? But he did a great job, you know.
So we got time for 1 final question. I'm sorry, so take it away.
Hi, thanks for coming. I was originally going to ask you about your crystal collection, but then I was wondering what's the most underrated advice you have gotten from someone that you can give to us, life-wise or career-wise? You can choose.
Underrated? Oh, geez, really think like, you know, I was on the Paramount lot and traveling in a golf cart with, it was myself and my brother-in-law and one actor, I can't think of his name right now, big burly man, and he was in Rambo, the actor, you gotta help me out here with his name, and he just said,
not Sylvester Stallone, no.
No. He played the cop in Rambo. He was like chasing Rambo around.
Yeah, in the first one.
Yeah,
I see what you mean. Strong face.
Yeah, strong face. I can't think of his name. I'm giving the most underrated advice. No, seriously, like save your money. Yes, who? Brian Dennehy. Yeah, save your money. kid. I was like, okay, I'm listening to you, man. And as far as overrated advice, any critic who I would not go and get advice to in the first place would be my overrated advice. And live life the way you feel fit in your heart. I think if you're balanced, I know if you're balanced with your head, your ego, and your heart, life will be beautiful for you. Show gratitude, show kindness, have conversations where you can agree to disagree and still share a pint, or you can laugh with each other. Today's world is so filtered with social medias and platforms and artificial intelligence. We're all scared and fearful of losing jobs. We're all don't know what the next thing is going to be. You know, live inside and be self-aware. And I think the most precious thing that you can get from someone is kindness and listening. Just listen. Someone's going through something, listen. Or someone's going through something, maybe they just want you to be there. Just presence, right? Don't make it about yourself. Just be there for them.
That's amazing advice. That's all we have time for. Give it up for David!
Thank you so much. Thank you. And the woman who gave me the cannoli is fantastic. Thank you for the gifts. Awesome.